Hey, y'all, I'm Shane Sams. I'm a self-employed, location-independent online entrepreneur, and I make my entire living online with membership websites. I started this podcast to introduce you to some of the most influential and inspirational entrepreneurs on the planet so that you can pick up the tips, strategies, and tactics you need to become a membership master too. And I'm really excited about today's guest. Today on the podcast, I'm welcoming Chris and Ivy Newport of ivynewport.com. Now, not only are Chris and Ivy Newport creating an amazing business, an amazing membership site, but I have had the privilege of watching their journey from the very beginning. Chris and Ivy Newport came into the flipped lifestyle community to learn how to start, build, and grow membership sites. We were there when they launched their first membership, and we saw them go from 0 to 500 members in like a month. And they have been growing ever since. I got a message from Chris the other day, and he said, man, you've got to hear what's happened to us in 2020, even during the pandemic, even with everything going on. All of the things that we've learned inside the Flipped Lifestyle community, all the things that we've learned in the Membership Masters newsletter, and all of the actions we took helped us grow our business by over 22% in one of the craziest years in human history. And when I read that message and I started seeing how many members they had and I started seeing all the things they were doing, I said, Chris and Ivy Newport, we're going to give you a promotion. We're going to take you out of the community as a success story. You guys are membership masters. Heck, I'm learning from you. You guys are doing some absolutely amazing things in your online business. And I want you to go share that with everybody out in the world. So on this special episode, I want to introduce you to Chris and Ivy Newport. I have no doubt you're going to learn some tips, strategies, and tactics today. They're going to help you take your membership to the next level.
Welcome to the Flip Lifestyle Podcast, where life always comes before work. We're your hosts, Shane and Jocelyn Sams. We're a real family that figured out how to make our entire living online. And now we help other families do the same. Are you ready to flip your life? All right, let's get started. Hi, Chris and Ivy Newport. How you doing?
Hey, Shane. How are you?
Hey, Shane. It's great to see you again.
I have been recording all day, but I'm telling you right now, and I do not say this just because I'm talking to you guys. I've been looking forward to this one more than anything else on my schedule today.
Right? I love to hear that. That's awesome.
Man. I love you guys so much, and I respect you guys. You guys are, I'll never forget, like, I remember a lot of people's stories in the Flip Lifestyle community, but I remember the post I learned about you guys, and because you guys were, you came in and you're like, hey, we launched in beta group. We just had hundreds of people join and we have no clue what's going on.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It was crazy.
And I was kind of one of those people that kind of very quiet inside the group. And
then you weren't.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I got to share this story.
Now you're in everything I do, everywhere I turn. Chris and Ivy are just sitting there. Like, so just a little quick origin story, for everybody who, you guys have been on the podcast before. We'll link to your past podcasts in the show notes and stuff. Yeah. But, you guys have definitely graduated into the membership master category of people in the community. So I want to talk about the origin story, like of your website, like what was the idea behind it? Why did you start it? And maybe just like talking a little bit about, hey, let's launch this membership and see what happens. Like, just tell me and everybody listening about that.
Yeah.
It started several years ago, about 14 years ago, when I started a creative blog. As a new mom, I just wanted to explore, getting online and sharing my creativity. And I started connecting with a lot of people and realizing that there was a need for women, especially, to connect and to learn and to be creative and inspired by each other. And so from there, I started taking online art classes, fell in love with that. That's when Chris discovered.
That's when I discovered what is this industry of online creative classes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I will never forget sitting on the couch one night and I asked her, how much did you pay for that class? And she said, I don't know, 60 something dollars. And I said, well, how many people took it? And she said, 300. And I immediately pulled out my phone and multiplied that. And I just, it floored me. And I said, Yvette, you can do this. Oh my gosh, we can build this. We can do this. Cause I come from the web background and I was like, oh, let's get this going. Let's figure this out.
Yeah.
And
was this a Shane and Jocelyn moment? Ivy, was it like, hey, you can do this, you know what I'm saying? And you're like, I don't want to do it, or I do want to do it, or did you immediately be like, I think I can do it? Like, what
Oh
did you
no, I
think?
thought he was crazy at first. I was like, I can't do that. I don't know how to teach online. I don't know how to use a camera and all this. And he's like, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And so shortly after that little epiphany, he set me up. And
I went to Home Depot, got some PVC pipe and a GoPro camera, and off we were going.
Did you say PVC pipe?
PVC pipe.
Yep. So you just didn't want to pay for a tripod at this point.
No, I didn't know anything.
It was a total hack.
I had no idea about this stuff.
Total hack.
Yeah. That's
so
amazing.
I have a background, we both have art degrees. So I kind of got into my groove and started teaching online and showing people what I was creating and sharing it on YouTube. And I was terrified.
What do you create too for everybody? Like what is the main focus of this creativity? What are we tapping into?
Yeah. So it's mostly mixed media art. So creating paintings, collage. Now we have teachers that we brought onto the platform that teach all different kinds of creative applications and expressions, but it's all art focused. Yeah.
And so you created courses at first, and you were selling these where? Like in third-party marketplaces, or
no? We hacked it together. Well, the first time we built it was like this, me being perfectionism. Brought a team over in India and helped build this perfect WordPress site. And the day we were going to launch it, I think we got one sale, and I hit update on a plugin or something and completely crashed the WordPress site.
Oh no! Your one person couldn't even get to anything.
Wiped it all out. So we got one sale, and we were like, well, we got one sale. So we went back and we just like, all right, let's just build it on Squarespace and see if this is even something that's viable.
Yeah.
Let's stop this craziness. And we started, and it just grew really fast. Like the sales kept coming in, and then you start realizing the sales don't always come in. That was the other thing we had to learn was amazing,
especially with
launch.
Courses.
Oh my gosh, amazing launch. And then, a week later, you're like, wait, what happened?
And you got to make another course.
Yeah. So that's where we started diving into, okay, what's this online marketing world and how do we get into it? And what's the secret sauce to all this?
How do we create an income, not just make a bunch of money sometimes?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's the part that people leave out, is that you have to actually pay your bills while you're building a business. Right. And you'd like to know that you're getting paid next month. That'd be good.
Yes.
Oh, the cash flow was all over the place.
Yeah, it was a roller coaster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I was constantly churning out more and more, classes. And
well, you get in that hamster wheel of, the reason sales died is because everyone who will ever bought that course bought it. And now I need to make another course.
Exactly.
And then we will launch that. And then everyone on earth that will buy that, blah, blah, blah. And it just
it was exhausting a little bit.
Yep. And so, I mean, gosh, between just listening constantly to podcasts, and when I discovered your story on Pat Flynn, that was the biggest aha moment for me. I can't tell you how many podcasts I listened to for 2+ years. And that story you guys told and the way you broke it down on the online marketing funnel, and I'd heard funnels before, but I didn't really understand what it was. And then to understand the psychology of where they are in the journey, that for me, I immediately called.
I think we were on a plane and you were like, pulled your AirPods out and you were like, oh my gosh.
I was like, I think I figured this out, or at least the premise of it, like the idea behind it. I was like,
I haven't figured it out, but these two people from Kentucky figured it out maybe, and we'll just do what they did, because if they can do it, I mean, surely we can do it. I mean, this is ridiculous.
So because we had email marketing, but we didn't understand how to tell a journey.
We didn't understand the psychology behind
it.
So really, that's interesting. Yeah. Like, so I've been on Pat's a couple times. Yeah. And I would assume this was the second time we were on there, because I think we talked a lot about funnels and stuff.
Yep.
And you really didn't even weren't feeling the membership thing yet. You were just like, this is marketing interesting. Check this out. And you were like, oh, what is this? Memberships? Yeah. What is this all about? Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that. Tell me about that. Getting into the membership world.
Oh yeah. So once I started listening to your podcast, because like, what is this couple this is Shane and Jocelyn? I got to hear this story. So I started listening more and more to you guys. And I think I burned through every podcast you guys had. And I finally joined, and I just started devouring everything inside Flip Lifestyle. Everything from email marketing and sequencing, email sequencing and setting it up. So when they purchase something, we had this whole thing set up. Now it's like, okay, now we're leading. And when they subscribe, they're not going to buy anything right away, but how do we, tell the story and walk them through the,
and it was really fun
discovery.
To sit down together and talk about how are we going to do this, and how, what aspects are we going to share and give away. And it was really fun to develop it.
Yeah. And then I know I said this before, but when I watched Jocelyn's video on Facebook ads, and the first thing she talked about was uploading your email list to Facebook. And my head exploded. I had no idea you can even do that. And that was the first thing I ever did with Facebook ads, was upload our list and turn on an ad and target our email list. And then again, it's just like one of those things that just the residual income from that started coming in. Mm-hmm. And so not only were we sending emails out to, for generating income for new classes, but then we had these ads rolling. So that increased. And I was like, okay, this is really fun. We're starting to really discover how we find new people.
There's other ways to bring people in besides launches and all these things, right? And you can set this stuff up once and it goes forever. Kind of.
And then I think we have this huge resource now, this huge wealth of content. So we started, Chris started really looking into the membership thing, and it was like, wait a second, we have a lot to share that people could pay monthly for and get access to everything. Instead of just, piecemealing the classes, they could just have this library of creativity open to them. And so we started developing that.
Yeah, that was the process of step one was get our classroom structured in a way that was organized and proper for people that are buying classes one-on-one. Mm-hmm. And once I knew I had that established, we were ready to, so it was a really planned approach. After, I think I was in Flip Life for about a year of this whole process, 6 months to a year. And once we set up the membership, we were ready to turn it on. And that's when I sent you guys that message.
Yeah, it's like 500 people 4th, joined or something crazy.
January 4th was the day. And it was 2 years ago. And just one of those just amazing, could not believe they just kept coming in every day for about a week of just like, oh my gosh, this keeps going.
Did you guys work other places at this time when you launched the membership, or were you already all in on
we were all in?
Yeah, because you saw the potential and you were like, let's just make it better at this point.
Yep. Gotcha. When I went back to consulting, that helped float us through those peaks and valleys of launching classes
at the very beginning.
But then there was no need once you get the monthly people rolling in.
And once we were all in on this, then you start realizing, oh wait, we're all in, and then the classes are still launching.
How do we equalize
all this? So I tell you though, the membership over the last, not to get ahead of ourselves a little bit too much, but the membership itself has been just game changing.
Yeah. Isn't it neat to like, I never recommend people do what Chris and Ivy did. They just turned on their membership to an existing list. And that was like, hey, there's 500 people in here partying with us now. Oh my gosh. Right. That was a little overwhelming. We had to talk you through that one. Right? We had to sit down and have a conversation about that one. Right. But we figured it out. It's okay. Now, if you can sell 500, I'm not going to tell you not to. I'm just saying, try a beta group, then do it 2 weeks later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's amazing, like when I know that when we went to, like when we kind of stumbled into memberships because we were like, hey, do you want August lesson plans? By August. Hey, do you want September? And we were selling them. And then finally we realized, like about 6 months in, like, shouldn't we just let them pay us every month? Right. You know?
Yeah.
Like I do remember turning on the membership model for elementary librarian, for US history, for everything that we did, everything we ran. And I just remember the first time it filled up, right? Jocelyn was kind of the same thing. She had already had a huge existing customer base. And it was like the second year that we turned on the full blown membership model for that. Yeah. And I was like, I just remember like, man, all those people are going to pay us next month. And like, there's a number. I mean, there's always a number. It might be 6 months. It might be 12 months, whatever it is. But like, I know we're going to get paid next month. I know we can buy a house. I know we can hire a customer service agent. And I'll never forget that feeling of just like peace that I didn't have to get up and go kill something and drag it back to the stage every single day, man. Yeah. You know, like, are we out of buffalo from yesterday, honey? All right, I'll be back. You know, and Jocelyn was the same way. It was like, we don't have to have a webinar every day. We don't have to do all this. And did you feel a similar experience when you were like, wow, 500 people are going to pay us next month? That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it was overwhelming. It was a little intimidating. I think I remember you telling you that on the last podcast, but yeah, it was a little scary. It was like, oh my gosh, now we have all these people and we need to serve them. And have we figured this all out? But, it ended up going out really well. We were very fortunate, and the community has just grown and grown. But yeah, we did feel that. We felt that kind of that space to kind of take a breath and to sit back a little bit and go, wow, look at, not only reflect on what we've built, but where are we going to take it and how can we fine tune it now instead of just, trying to make ends meet and make sure you hit that bottom line. So
we can take a day off.
Yeah.
And you know what? We're going to get paid today.
And
that's okay. It's okay.
Yes. It was a lot of freedom, and it was very rewarding.
Yeah.
And it still is. Every day it is.
Yeah. This year amplified it definitely with, obviously the pandemic, but then, I can't tell me how many times we thought, oh, so glad we have an online business.
Oh my gosh.
But between that and then
we'll talk more about that. We're going to go down that rabbit hole. Hardcore.
We had the forest fires. We had, we were moving. We moved to a new house, and that was a roller coaster. So
we talked off air. We both just went through an ice storm, and you need electricity to get online. Right. So that's a problem, right?
Right. We had emails ready to go out.
You were running to Starbucks.
I had to go down the hill.
Oh
my gosh, shoveling snow and ice to get down the hill.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But we made it, and it was okay.
Yeah. So it was a really nice moment to be able to reflect on, like, wow, this is okay.
Took a lot of pressure.
We've done this. We've
that's one reason. I have a reverse thing. We always automate things at times. Like in January, I remember I automated 20 emails because I knew I was going to be traveling a lot. Yeah. So I just went ahead and automated everything. But I remember even when the ice storm hit, I wake up every day and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go email my list. I'm going to sell something to somebody. Let's go. Yeah. That's my first thing I do every day. And, then I serve the community. I usually grab one question and I answer it on a video and I'm done. That's pretty much what I do in the morning, every morning. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it was awesome when the ice storm hit, because even though we didn't have power, I basically just said, I can skip a day. It'll be back on. If I don't do it today, I'll do it every other day anyway. So it gives me like forgiveness in my schedule if something like that happens.
Oh, yeah.
So let's go back. Last year was very interesting because I feel like we were on the bus together. I really do. Yeah. Because in February of last year, I started this new program, and Membership Masters was a new thing. Right. Mm-hmm. My newsletter was kind of a new thing. It had only been out a few months. The Membership Masters podcast was kind of a new thing. And I had this, I kept getting questions all 2019 about our sales funnels and stuff. Right. And because we do so much craziness in our funnels and we're always testing things. And I had this idea. I told Jocelyn somewhere around January. This shows you how fast I operate. I'm sitting here telling you guys to slow down, do a beta group, whatever. Like right now, I'm definitely not practicing what I'm preaching around here, man. But I said I got this idea called the $1 Million Membership Funnel, and it was basically like the concepts that over time could create $1 million in revenue through automation and hard work, right? Yep. And I remember I rolled this thing out in February of 2020. And it was going to be like a live event. Like we were going to meet live. And I was like, I had my live event coordinator. Yeah. We were planning for May. Yeah. And I was doing personal reach outs. And I was like, man, Chris and Ivy got to be in this. So I was like reaching out like, dude, you got to do this.
So excited to go.
It was amazing. And like, we had this amazing group of people. Like there's a bunch of people in the Facebook group now. And then March happens, 2020. Yep. The whole world shuts down. I'm pushing it, trying to have this live event. Right. And we all just freaked out. The airlines shut down. And like, we just said we can't do it. And I remember like, okay, what am I going to do here? One, I've got all these people fired up about this. Two, we're all freaking out because like, are any of us going to be in business in 6 months? Who knew at that point, right? Whole world shutting down. So we just went virtual and we said, you know what? I'm just going to turn it into an 8-week thing. I'm going to do it every 2 weeks and we're going to install this as we go. I'll be available to help everybody do it. Yeah. And like, it was crazy watching what was happening in that group throughout 2020. Everybody else was like the world's Chicken Little, and we're all in there going, dang, I grew another 10%. Holy crap, I made $30,000. Oh my gosh, right? And like all that happened. So let's go back to the beginning of the pandemic. What were you guys thinking at the beginning? And then like what happened? Because you guys had a great year. You guys grew last year, right?
We grew quite a bit.
Yeah.
So let's go back to March last year. What happened then? So, what are you thinking?
Well, first of all of my art retreats, because I travel and teach live, and that's one way that I serve our community. And everything was canceled, obviously. And so we had to deal with some of that and kind of reshifting travel plans and whatnot. And then, we kind of just decided, we're just going to put our heart into it and keep moving forward and hope that people don't drop off the membership.
I thought everybody was quitting in my mind.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, well, there it goes. All the money's gone and everybody's going it. And it was a good run.
I just lost my job. We were getting those emails.
We did give out a lot of scholarships. We gave out a lot of,
good for
free
you.
access to people that were having trouble, which I think that, was appreciated. But surprisingly, as the months went on, we saw increase and we saw people writing to us saying, oh, I'm so thankful for this because I need an escape from reality. I need to focus on something positive. So people really kind of dug in and I think went deeper with the content that we share. So that was, astounding. And we almost felt guilty that we were doing so well when you heard about all the rest of what was going on. So we saw growth and that was beautiful.
Yeah. And I will say, even though unfortunately we weren't able to meet in person, having the time to go through every 2 weeks to implement what we were learning.
Yeah.
I think that just allowed us to take it all in more and apply it, as opposed to, I can't imagine taking all that in and amazing knowledge you were showing to all of us.
And then having to go build it.
And having to go back. I'm like, wait, what did Shane say the first hour of that meeting?
I'll tell you what was good for me. Yeah. For real, I really, really, really looked forward to that.
Yeah.
Not only teaching that and preparing for that and showing you guys just all the things that we had learned over the years and the funnels and all that, but it was just amazing to know, hey, I got 15 people that are going to show up every 2 weeks. And we would sit there and be like, talk about the end of the world for a few minutes before we got into funnels. Right. Yeah. And and it was just really nice to go through that with people who were like-minded and still focused and still driven and be like, we're not going quietly into the night. We're going to build, we're going to grow, we're going to invest. And then to hear you would come in and you'd be like, I started this lookalike ad. I put it into the first part of the funnel. And then so many people joined the quarterly upsell and we would all celebrate that. And it was so good to have a place where good news was happening and you could just enjoy that together.
Definitely.
Yes. And that's one thing I loved about between the mastermind group and the monthly newsletter you send out was reading through those and then being able to say, oh, wow, I've never tried that. Let me try that. Mm-hmm. What's the worst case scenario? It may not work,
Yeah.
But to implement that and to see it work and then to keep tweaking it and playing with, okay, well, that works. Let me try this over here for.
Chris is hilarious, Ivy, on the calls because Chris is back end stuff. So he's always on these calls talking about things to build and Ivy's front, facing and doing all this stuff over here with the creative side. And Chris would just sit there and we would share wins. And Chris would be like, we got another 42 people took the upsell. And he would just sit there and be like, every week it was just the same thing. Like, I don't know, man. I can't believe it. I don't even know what's going on anymore. Right. And he would just be in disbelief for the first 10 minutes. And we'd be like, all right, what's next? And,
we're still every month. I just look, I'm like, I just in disbelief of, things that we implement and try and test and to see it work. And just keep growing. It's incredible. Yeah.
I think the silver lining of the pandemic for us in our business is that it removed a lot of the distractions and we were able to really focus on the content that you were sharing and the information that we're pulling in and we could really fine tune things.
Yeah. It was definitely I remember I did a Facebook Live for our community and when it first started out, and this was probably 2 weeks after they started closing all the schools in the country. Right. And I just remember I almost broke down on that call. I just was like, I'm sitting here talking to a bunch of people and everybody's going through the same thing together. Nobody knew what was going on at this point, right? No. We didn't get into the politics of everybody arguing about everything yet. No. And everybody was just like, we were still cheering for nurses at 5 o'clock and we were still doing all these things. And I just got really emotional. And, but I remember that was a real turning point for our attitude in the pandemic. Jocelyn and I we had a good talk and we just said, hey, the only thing we can do is plow forward. Like we can't just assume it's all going to go away. It's what can we control, right? I can control meeting with you guys. I can control having a mastermind. I can control implementing a new strategy. I can control emailing my list. Yeah. And that's what we focused on, man. And we were the same way. Like we grew. How much did you all grow last year?
I couldn't believe it. And I had to share it with you because I was like, who else is going to understand this? We grew 22% last year.
Isn't that insane?
Incredible.
I mean, that 22% year over year growth is like ridiculous.
Oh,
you know, and if you can do it during a pandemic, what's it going to be whenever all this is over?
Oh, no.
Right.
I know. I just keep looking at our numbers.
Exactly.
It's always fun to go back and look, you know, the peaks and valleys back 4 or 5 years ago to where we are now. And our bookkeeper just sent over our numbers yesterday for January. And from January last year compared to January this year, we grew 44%.
Jeez, man.
So I'm like, well, if we keep it up, let's just keep going, see where it all.
But you know what I think that is though, honestly, like this is kind of like we can talk about, like, I'm not going to go out and tell everybody like, oh, Shane and Jocelyn have a magic wand. And if you'll just do the funnel and if you'll just, you know, it's really that mentality of, okay, you know, like the Membership Masters newsletter in our growth plan is like, okay, the mentality is we are going to market daily.
Mm-hmm.
So here are some ideas so you don't have to start from scratch. Right. And like the $1 million membership funnel, the concept is we've got all of these best practices in place and we're going to improve upon them. Right. By pouring people like new in. The concept of like even the Membership Masters mastermind was just, hey, I'm going to put people in the room that are serious, that are not going to fold, and we're going to meet every 2 weeks and we're going to do stuff, you know, like none of that is necessarily magic. It's just committing to that. And that's why, like, I hear these stories like crazy, but listen, I've heard stories in the Flip Lifestyle community of people when the bad things hit, they let it overwhelm them and they let it stop them from doing the daily market and they like stop them from trying new things. And it got them in that closed-fisted place of, I can't let go of what I've already got, instead of that open-handed spirit of, well, look, let's just keep it open so more can come in. And it shut them down. And that's why I think you guys grew, because you said, hey, I'm afraid, but I'm going to keep doing it anyway. And that's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah, I know we had those discussions at the beginning about this. Like, how do we market this? Like, you know, so much going on and people, you know, so many struggles for other people. I'm like, how do we keep just going? Do we ignore it? Do we acknowledge it? You know, like and we just, to your point, we just kept moving forward.
Hey, listen, I got a buddy whose course sales plummeted.
Yeah.
And like overnight. And he was like, well, I'm out. Like, he's like, you know, we had to really rally around him and come up with some new strategies for that, you know?
Yeah.
But I think though, people like us and everybody out there listening, here's a big difference when you lead a community is it's bigger than you. It's not about you.
Absolutely.
And, you know, and I mean, Ivy's name is on the domain. Like this is her tribe. And you really, like, I remember thinking that, like, we've got to lead our people. We've got to be positive. And if we had just been alone selling a commodity product, I don't think we would have been as inspired to get out there and take as much action as we did. Did you all feel that way? Like, our people need us.
Absolutely. You know? I mean, there were days like everyone else where I was super low and I didn't have a lot of energy. I was scared. I was worried. But, you know, I did feel that accountability. We both felt that accountability to the community to say, you know, we need to be there for them and to keep showing up and keep offering what we offer, because what we do offer is so positive and so uplifting. And, you know, we have a commitment to these people to keep going. And it helped us too. I mean, because you know, it gets you up in the morning. It gets you going.
For sure, because you've got that responsibility part of your business. Exactly. And sometimes, like when you're selling courses, you probably felt this, like, you know, when you make a sale, it feels good. But then that person just takes your thing and they're gone. Right. But when you feel like you have a membership and a community, like nothing can let you impact the world like a membership site. I don't care what you're doing out there selling, making money. Like, you may sell 1 million copies of a book, but it's not, you're not going to feel the impact you're making like when you're with your community. And that responsibility can pick you up on the days that you feel like giving up.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, we would get emails, you know, people saying, I can't wait for next month's. We offer an online magazine that comes with the platform and with the membership every month. And we had people, you know, I can't wait for the first of the month. I look forward to it. It helps lift me up. It helps me with whatever. And I mean, that's just super motivating. Yeah.
It's amazing. So, like, now that so we went through a nightmare and 20% growth, 40% growth in January. Like, you're just like on this like upward tick, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you
like what's the next step for scaling the membership? Like, have you talked about how big that you think it can grow? Like, these are conversations you got to have. Like, how big do we want it to grow? How big can it grow? And your all's product could grow. I mean, massive, right? Yeah. So like, what are you talking about right now when it comes to like scaling a membership? You've already got a multiple six-figure membership, right? That's amazing. Like, that's incredible. But like, how do you scale something like that? How do you go to the next tier?
That's a good question, Shane. Can you tell us that? Now, what's the secret?
I'm here to talk about it, man. I want to hear your ideas, and we'll riff. Let's just riff, man.
We've been exploring different things in terms of building some more multiple streams of income in terms of, creating products from a lot of the art that I create. Can we, create some products around that? Can we start incorporating more upsell in the membership and possibly another tier? Things like that we're looking at.
Yeah, those are definitely the big thing we see a lot of, like kind of an easy win for us would be introducing products, so that not only, because right now we offer like digital classes that people can buy outside of the membership, but that's not really an advantage to the people inside the membership. So we're thinking, well, if we create these products, not only can people outside the membership purchase, but there's a discount and another place for people to go and take advantage of the membership by purchasing these things at a discount. And also just another way for us, someone that might buy it, we find that people in our audience like tangibility.
Yeah. They're artists.
They're artists.
They want to physically touch something.
Yeah. I mean, people buy our books and they never buy a digital class. Yeah. So we're just missing out on this opportunity of like, wow, we could, not only they could buy the physical product, but we could potentially lead them into the membership.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So those things. And then we're also looking at expanding our platform. So, because every month we launch new teachers and they create the content for us. So not only it's a win for them and a win for the community. And so we're looking at maybe potentially expanding this out so that almost more curation. Yeah. So they could submit their classes. Maybe they already have a class on their website, but they don't have enough audience to maybe generate the sales that they would like. Right. Well, then submit your content to us and we can put it on our platform, grow our platform with content, but on their end, they can potentially, receive some recurring revenue from the membership as well.
How are you connecting people in your community? Not just leading them like in a group setting, but do you have connection built in? That's usually a great way to scale, is like to connect people, because Jocelyn is big on starting with retention in every plan we make, because when you retain more and you keep people around more, it's easier to grow because that base keeps lifting. Right? Yeah. Do you guys connect your people in any way?
That's a good question.
It is.
The Facebook group.
I mean, but I think we could do more, offering some kind of, affiliate program or some way of people gifting the membership, or
so they bring in their actual friends or something like that.
I mean, we have a lot of women across the country that tend to connect. I'm going to join. Will you join? That kind of thing. We are doing, this is a group setting thing, but I just started doing studio circle, I call it. And we all get together live on a Zoom and create together in our studios. So that's a
great really thing.
We just did the first one last week and I was super nervous, but it ended up really being beautiful and everyone felt the connection and we got great feedback. So we're going to do another one next week.
I've got a buddy who has a writing membership. He's got 700 members and all they do is show up and flip an hourglass over and write together. He plays music and he just sits there and writes a blog post and he comes back and he's like, it's the greatest thing ever. Nobody ever quits. Yeah. They just love it because it's a place to hang out. It's accountability. It's ridiculous.
Yep. Yeah. So that went really well. Yes. So I think we're going to.
You did have a few people that were like, I wish there was more talking. It's too quiet.
I know. I think I've got to figure out how to balance between the different personalities.
You could. Is it on Zoom or are you doing webinars or what? Yeah. You can do breakout rooms in Zoom.
That's what I'm thinking about doing next.
Like you could have a talkers room and a quiet room.
Yes.
And then just stick the talkers over there and you all do whatever you want while we're doing this and have somebody just put somebody in charge of it.
Yes. Yeah. And the nice thing about that too, I just thought, well, I'm gonna send this out to people that are outside the StudioWorks community as well.
Just so they know what they're missing.
I'm like, I don't know if it'll work.
For sure. I love that.
Just sending that out, not only did we bring people back in who had left, like, oh, I love this idea. And
they joined.
Then we had so we had
FOMO is a great motivator. It's a great motivator.
Yeah. And then the other thing that we're doing with the lives, because I've been taking a lot of live courses on an app, Inside Timer, and I love them, like yoga classes and stuff. So I've started to reach out to experts and and healers and artists in my life. And we're starting to do live calls where I bring them into the call and they share their gifts with the community, whether it's, meditation or yoga or art tips or whatever. And I think that's like, so we're kind of having more membership events, virtual events that I think are really fun. And people seem
anything that builds that connection.
Right.
Like we even did some live watch parties in Facebook just to have people listen to the podcast together, and those went over really well. And like, we have co-working sessions, like our team, just our people that work for us, right? Like Hannah, who edits this podcast, she'll just be like, I'm going to edit a podcast at 9 p.m. on Tuesday night. And people show up and they just hang out and they work together, and she'll be like, what are you working on? What are you working on? What are you working on? And they just together. They're just together.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
Right. And you can make all that stuff happen. And I hope everybody gets this part of this conversation too. Like, none of us ever know how to get to the next level, guys. No. We're all just like throwing things on the wall right now. Because, I'm sure people are listening like, oh, these people make a lot of money with memberships. They're going to tell me the plan to go to the next level. No, we're trying to figure it out ourselves. Right. Yes. Everybody is always trying to do it. And that's what these conversations are for.
I will say that the great thing about the membership is it allows us to do that. Like it allows us to take those risks, and it allows us to see,
experiment a little,
play around a little bit and see what might work, what might not. And
dude, if your next launch doesn't work and you're just selling courses, you're screwed. You have no chance to take a risk. There's no room, right? No. And this way you're like, I think that'll work. Let's try it for a couple of weeks.
Or you don't like it. You're like, and you're just like, I don't want to do that.
I didn't like how that felt.
Yeah, I don't like that. So I'm gonna do something different. Yeah.
I think for growth, like I would tell you guys and everybody listening, and we do this too. Like this is something, the biggest thing I think, like if you've not written a true vision for the next 3 years of your business, there's a great book called Vivid Vision by, I think his name's Cameron Harold. And it's like 100 pages. It's really short. And I'm talking like a deep, if anything was possible, you're not allowed to figure out how to do it yet. You just say, what do we want this to become? I would definitely say that's something you guys need to do like right now if you've not done it. Not a mission statement, not a mission, but a vision from you guys for your people, right?
Yeah.
Like that would be a really, really important thing to do.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. We talk a lot. We don't put it down on paper. So I think it's a really
important. I don't know if it's in here. I'd hold it up if I had it. It's somewhere in this room. Wait, here it is. If you're watching the video on YouTube, you should be on our YouTube channel right now or in the Facebook group where we air these, right? But like you'll see this notebook, like it's just handwritten highlights.
I have a lot of those.
Okay. Nice. I hand wrote my vision over a 3-day period.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I typed it and edited it and then let Jocelyn read it. And then we reread it to our team at every quarterly meeting.
Nice.
I can share ours with you too if you guys want to look at it.
Yeah.
But like it just crystallizes where you want to go, right?
Yeah.
The next thing, especially at your all's level now, like I think the 7-figure number is a thought that you've got to think about right now. Like you guys can get there,
It is. Yeah, and that's where the planning, I'm always testing like, okay, if we move this here and we implement this, maybe this will get us to the next level.
And see, that mentality got you here.
Yeah.
It won't get you there. What you've got to change is the aggressiveness in what you're wanting to accomplish. And the vision gives you the fuel to do that. Because when the vision is not about 7 figures, that's only one paragraph in the 4-page document, right? Mm-hmm. It's what do we want for our members? What do we want for our team? Yeah. What do we want for our family, right? Like all those things that come to pass fuel this more aggressive mentality. Right. And you've got to start looking at like other things to grow your business besides tweaks. Tweaking has to stop, right? And you've got to say, okay, what's my new organic strategy, right? Like we're going all in on this organic strategy called Dream 100, where Shane does what he does best. He goes out and he networks with influencers and he gets on people's podcasts, right? Not just from thank you for inviting me level. Like, no, I'm going to be on 100 podcasts this year. Let's go, right? Mm-hmm. And then we've got a paid strategy we're doing. It's called aggressive acquisition. I've been talking to you guys about this a little bit in different areas. And it's like, we're going to figure out what it takes to buy a customer from a cold audience. And we're going to, if we have to move heaven and earth around that number, we're going to figure out how to buy cold traffic. So like, it's not just get leads. That's the strategy that gets you to multiple 6 figures, right? It's I'm going to acquire a customer for X dollars. I'm going to make that my monthly price. I'm going to add value to make it worth it. And then I'm going to make my profit off the next 6 months of retention. Right. So now we're testing ads. We're spending something like 30 hours of our team's overall capacity a week right now on aggressive ads, right? Trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
Then you got to look for new layers. And like one of the layers that we had come out of some of these other strategies is partnerships. We've never really, not partnerships from a business standpoint, more from an affiliate type relationship, like a strategic alliance, right? I just signed a live event deal with this company, and we're going to be going on the road 3 times a month for 6 months, building a sales team, and they're going to pitch the Flip Lifestyle community. So they have these big stadium events. They sell these workshops, and we've become an exclusive education partner to this group.
Wow.
Never would have considered that in the last phase of our journey. I didn't ever want to even think about that. It's going to require me. Read a great quote in the book 12-Week Year by Brian Moran the other day. It said the only thing, I'm going to paraphrase, butcher this, but it said the only thing holding you back from the next level is your commitment to get uncomfortable for a while, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what would make me more uncomfortable than anything? I started thinking about that, and I said, well, probably having to travel like to these events for a while. There's that I definitely, when I signed the contract, there was I'm off the road in 6 months. That's the plan. So this is only a sprint for me, right? But this opportunity just is ridiculous. It's like they're going to put minimum 3,000 people in these venues, and they're going to be selling our stuff to them. I'm going to be selling stuff to them first.
Yeah, right. That's incredible.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's like, that out of the box thinking, never would have even considered that was a human possibility 2 years ago.
That's a really good point, because we've talked about this too. Is where you get to this point where you've worked so hard for so long to get to where it is, and then you realize, oh, I can breathe. I can take a minute to appreciate what it is that we've created. And now it's the next level of, okay, what is the next challenge? What is the thing that we're going to push forward with to get us to the next level?
Yeah.
Really
It's hard when you realize too, like this is I see this all the time with our successful owners and the membership owners.
Yeah.
I don't want to call it complacency. I think that's kind of like, and I don't want to be flippant about this, because there's going to be a lot of people listening to this podcast. But like, when you get your membership going, guys, it's really easy to make money. I hate to say it, like it's easy to stay warm, dry, and fed and comfortable. It really, really is.
It is.
I mean, 100 members, you got it.
Yeah.
And but the danger there is, I don't want to get uncomfortable.
Right,
yes.
Right.
Yes.
For
and
sure.
that is a weird feeling for us right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Complacency is a word that's come up a lot.
Yeah. And I don't think it, me and Jocelyn have talked about that, because we do this all the time. I don't think it's complacency. I think it's like, Jocelyn articulates it more like, I didn't even know what we have now was possible 5 years ago.
Yeah.
How on earth are we supposed to even imagine what the next level looks like, let alone get to it? Right.
Yes.
So it's not complacency. It's more like, I'm cool right now, and I'm just trying to, it's like you're on cruise control trying to figure out your life, and you're just thinking on the open highway.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that analogy.
Sure.
But if you have a vision, the Bible says without a vision, the people will perish. And like without a vision, your membership will perish.
Right.
And you don't want to stagnate. So like, I think having a vision really helped me last year be like, okay, well, if this is true, then I've got to do some things differently. Right.
Yep.
And I think it could help you guys right now too, man. Like if you want to scale a 6-figure business to 7 figures, you better have a mission, or not a mission. You better have a vision to get there. And then like, I would just start thinking like, what's aggressive? What's something that we would have never considered doing? And stop thinking about the same strategies and just trying to make them better. You can still do that. Right.
Yeah. I know that's a good question. Did you find anything that you guys did?
Well, I have a question. Like, would you recommend each of us writing our own visions and then bringing them together?
Oh,
Being
yeah.
a husband and wife team.
That's a good question.
Well, let me. I don't know, because every husband and wife team is a little different.
Sure.
Right. Like Jocelyn at this point, I think our relationship is very much like, I mean, there's definitely a conversation that you have before writing the vision of what do you want. Right. Okay. But I think there's a natural person on the team who should write the vision. And then it's more of a conversation. Like my vision drives this, and Jocelyn is more like the COO. Like she underlined a thing in a book we were reading the other day, and it was like, behind every dreamer's impossible vision is something someone who, does the things that make it happen or whatever. Or it's like she wrote Jocelyn at the part of one sentence and Shane at the part of the other. So like it was more natural for me to just write the vision and go with, then let her see it and see if she was on board with it. But you guys might work differently, and you could just write your vision together.
I think that's about the same.
I think I'll probably write it.
Like when you have those visions, like scaling from 6 figures to from going from 250 to 500 to 750 to $1 million, whatever it is. Like once you have the vision, you can start looking for examples. Mm-hmm. So like I started looking like take this mastermind program I told you about earlier.
Yeah.
Last year was the funnest I've ever had in Flip Lifestyle. Like I had either a meeting with you guys in that group every 2 weeks, or I actually sold another thing called the Roundtable that I just wanted to do. I did it weekly. Right. And I just looked back and thought that was the funnest most fun I've ever had in the whole thing. And so when I got into this mastermind concept in my brain and I put down on my vision, all right, I might as well go in this vision here for a minute and make sure. So my vision for Flip Lifestyle changed a little bit last year. Like I saw not only the impact we can make teaching people online business, but Flip Lifestyle is a philosophy, right? Flip your life literally means you control every minute of your day. You have choices. You put your family first. You do. What does that look like, right? And what are all the components of that? Like if you want to be a great parent, you got to put work in for parenting. And if you want to be a great spouse, well, you got to put some work in the marriage. And if you want to be a great business owner, that's a part of it. And then there's health and self-care, right? So my overall vision became like the spoke of the wheel. And I was like, wouldn't it be cool if 10 years from now, there was a Flip Your Marriage podcast, and there was a Flip Your Health podcast, and there was a Flip Your Wealth podcast, and there was all these things. And they all funneled into this mastermind thing where these people, like you may come in, like I want to start a membership in an online business and become and stay self-employed. Great. You came in through that podcast, that membership. But over here, you might be like, hey, I've got my business clicking. I came in because I wanted to be a better husband or wife. Okay, well, you come in through that podcast, that membership. And I'm not even the host of these podcasts. That's another part of my vision is how does Shane not be the host of any of this?
Right.
Like I'm just over top of it, overseeing things.
Yep.
And then, so what happened was the mastermind kind of became my vision. I was like, man, but I could bring, wouldn't it be awesome if Chris was here to be a better husband through that angle, and I'm over here building a business, and then we connect in the middle through this amazing Flip Your Life mastermind program.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So all of the spokes of the wheel led to the mastermind. Now, once that vision was clear on paper out of my head that I could read out loud, I knew exactly who to start looking for to model. And I was like, well, wait a minute. Aaron Walker from View from the Top has a program called the Mastermind Playbook. Why don't I just go make him my mentor and I'll buy my way into that? Yeah. But I would have had no model. I wouldn't have had anything to look at if I didn't know what my vision was. So automatically, when you put your vision in place, you know what to look for now, because success leaves clues, and you can just go find what you're wanting.
Yeah.
Like you guys want $1 million membership. That's why you're in the $1 million membership mastermind, right? Like you knew what to look for. So it's but like getting that vision on paper, that's how you scale. It's not the mechanics. We all think it's the mechanics. That's just the hard work part afterwards. But having the model, man, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I love the idea that the visions gives us something to strive for and stay focused on.
It's the source.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? You don't really need a vision when you're starting your online business. That's the weirdest thing to say out loud. But like when you're starting your online business, you need grit, an idea, and a little proof that it works somewhere in the marketplace.
That's really good.
And then you just have to build it, get your first members, and kind of see what happens.
Yep.
Right.
You just don't need it for the first probably $100,000 you make.
Yeah, and I that's really good advice. I wish it's hard to articulate that to people. We have a lot of people around us and friends and family, and the grit part of it, and just sticking with it and figuring things out along the way, and know that not everything's going to work out.
Yeah.
But keep going. I think, I don't know where I heard this, but most people quit at the moment that things are going to turn for them.
Yeah, the tipping point. It's called the tipping point. It's like a Malcolm Gladwell book that actually talks about that whole concept.
Maybe that's where I picked it up.
Everybody gives up right before it's due.
Only knew. Like if you just stuck it out a little bit longer.
And the vision, I think, in the beginning, like if I had said in the beginning that my vision was to have 5 podcasts twirling around a program, and we had 10,000 members all together, and I hired all the, like that would have stopped me from this ever becoming a podcast, because I would have been overwhelmed. But now that you've like now that you know that anything is possible, right? Which is what happens when you become a membership master. That's why we call it membership masters. Like a master doesn't quit. A master just knows something went wrong and you got to fix something. A master knows that anything is possible. That's when you can sit down and say, write your vision statement. What do you want your community to become? And now let's figure out how to get there. And I personally, when I want to do something, I look for somebody else who's done it. And I just get on their railroad track. And
Absolutely.
I handed the book to, so I took the course. Aaron's a good friend of mine, so I talked to him a lot. We went to this training. Jocelyn got the 2-day version. Our team next in April will be taking over the playbooks in different parts. So I'll assign different components of how they run things. And of course there will be flavor from our brand, and there will be flavor of how we do things and whatever, because our people are going into these masterminds. But at the same time, I'll be telling my team, guys, let's just mimic what's been successful for them. Like, get on the railroad track and let's build this thing, and we'll change it as we go. It will work. It's going to work. So let's just do it like they did it, Right. But again, that doesn't even happen until I have this vision. You can't go to the next level as a member where you guys are unless you have a vision. Yeah. Isn't it funny how you default back to, all right, well, I don't really know what to do for the next level. So Ivy, go make another course and I'm going to tweak a sales funnel.
Right. So true. Well, I think you know, it's been nice hearing you talk about the vision, because I feel like it gives us permission to dream a little bit instead of just being in the mechanics so much. Yeah. It gives you an opportunity to kind of like really get out there in your mind and kind of expand what could be, what we could manifest, We
had a fun activity in my mastermind last year on our annual retreat. So normally we go and like, we kind of have like it's more of a, what are you struggling with question, like that we all bring to retreat, and we're like, okay, let's just all have fun. And we're out on a houseboat, we're sliding and swimming and fishing and doing all these things. And we're just going to, through these conversations, we're going to solve these problems. Right. Yeah. This year was really cool. We actually all went down this vision rabbit hole pretty hardcore over the summer. The pandemic just really made us think like, man, life is short. And the world is crazy, and we better build what we're going to build while we're here,
Right, right.
So we had this thing where we all wrote out our visions for our brands. Nobody was allowed to give anybody advice. Nobody was allowed to say it's not possible or how you're going to do that. It was just, you had to listen to the vision. We all had to assume it was going to come to pass. And now that we have it out there, we'll all work together going forward to get it done. Wow. So yeah, it's like the vision is not meant to be realistic.
Right.
It's not meant to be insane either. Right. But it's not meant to be realistic. It's meant to be like, we've helped 10,000 families launch successful membership sites. How do we do that? We'll figure that out later. There's no how in the vision statement. Right. And then it's just, you work backwards from that vision and you can figure out how to put it all together.
I love it.
Like, have y'all read 12-Week Year by Brian Moran? Y'all read that?
I'm gonna download these books.
Got 2 good books already.
Yeah, Vivid Vision and 12-Week Year. Now we've had this 12-week year plan forever, but you know me, I'm hard to nail down. So like, Jocelyn though is really like, we're really intentionally going through it right now, and we're gonna have a 12-week year starting April, May, and June, and it's a really powerful concept of stop thinking annually. What are you gonna do in the next 12 weeks to get to the next checkpoint toward your vision? Right. Oh. And, and like when I said, I want, 3,500 active paying members in the Flipped Lifestyle community by X date. Right. Because I can't have the impact and the ripple without that many people in the community. Right. Mm-hmm. It was basically like, okay, well, how many 12-week years are there between now and then? I just divide that by that number. Well, that's how many members we've got to add each quarter, basically. Well, then how many members is that each week? And now all of a sudden we have this tangible number. It was like 27 or something. And I was like, wait a minute. You mean all we have to do is say, how do we produce that many members now?
It breaks it down, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And like, that's all I have to do to get to my vision.
Right.
Like, that's incredible. And now it's just, what does my team do to help me execute that?
Yeah. Right.
But it's a powerful concept. I'm actually interviewing Brian on the Membership Masters podcast too. So he'll be on there. Y'all, if y'all like, just check those 2 books out, and it's the next level, man. You know what I mean?
That's the secret. There it is. Yeah. We've I want to go back to just the emphasis of like people. I know there's people on Flip Lifestyle listening to this. I just, getting through those moments and working hard, we don't talk a lot about, I think in this internet world, everyone's flooded with,
passive
Instagram
income.
overnight
Yeah.
and, success overnight. You can do this too. And look at us over here. I'm driving this amazing car or whatever. And gosh, you want to tell people, you know what? Start, keep going, figure it all out along the way. And it's at the end of it, whatever idea you had in the beginning, it's going to look so different from where you arrive.
Not even close.
You don't have the answers.
You don't have the answers, and just keep going and going. And it's not, I wished it was easy.
Yeah.
I wish it was easy to do it, but if it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
And also, like, I feel this too, like, this is one of the most interesting conversations I think we've ever had on probably either podcast, because like, I mean, I know you guys very well, you know what I mean? And you know me very well. And like even like me and Jocelyn, like, if you can't hear this from this podcast, I mean, I know, like, I have a lot of answers for people who are starting out. I just do, because I've seen so many memberships, but we're figuring it out too. Like, and like every level, all that stuff just comes right back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're not growing, you're dying. If you try to just put it in cruise control, your membership will die.
Yep.
Like, I just hate to tell everybody that, I made it to 100,000 a year or 500,000 a year. Like, okay, kick cruise control and see how long that lasts. You'll be right back where you started.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
energy in.
yeah, and we're always just looking for that new thing, and that's why our entire business is built around surrounding me and Jocelyn with people like Chris and Ivy, because I don't know, and I've learned. Listen, I learned as much from Chris last year. People won't say I admit this, but I just hearing you experiment with things I wasn't experimenting with, going down lookalike audience rabbit holes, and you were telling us all these things, and then we go to the next person in the hot seat, and they'd be talking about another thing, and then like what worked well, what didn't work well. Like when Bill Giovanetti, he did this big freaking crazy like launch or something with lifetime offers, and we were like, you did what? He had a goal to buy a mattress and he made 33 grand. Right. Like, it was like, but as soon as he did that though, like, I was like, why did that work? How did that work? Like, listen, me and Jocelyn are figuring it out every day because we have a next level that we've got to figure out. And Chris and Ivy are figuring it out. And we're leaning on each other just to figure out some clues of what we can try to make it happen.
Right.
Totally.
And that's how you grow your business.
Yeah. Oh, and the other thing I implemented was, it literally took me 10 minutes to implement it. It was all from talking to you in our call. It was like implementing quarterlies, and
game changer.
We tried like $1, join for $1 and all this stuff. But we'd been running the free month trial for so long. And we're like, and to have you say, well, how to implement the quarterly within that process when they join. Yeah. It's added so much to our bottom line within the
cash flow just explodes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Here's a free bonus tip because it's the $1 million membership funnel is not available anywhere unless I make it for sale. So, but like if you put a quarterly upsell after a free trial, you'll be shocked how many people take it.
Oh yeah. Every day.
But see, dude, let's look at this though.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Right.
Like that looks like some magic thing that I figured out. No, I was just the first guinea pig. Right. Because I paid and for a big event. We had VIP tickets. I got to meet speakers. There was a guy named Jermaine Griggs at Russell Brunson's event. I got back and talking to him, and we were just jamming on memberships. And he was saying, "Hey, what are you doing that's working?" I said, "Hey, what are you doing that's working?" And I said, "You did what?" And he goes, "Yes." So I went and tested it, and all of a sudden I'm like, "Well, that's an ad budget."
Yeah.
Oh, man, And then then we share, then we spread the word and we incorporate it, and like every bit of the $1 million membership funnel. Here's what's crazy about that. Every single point in the $1 million membership funnel is being in a community full of membership entrepreneurs. And it's just stuff not only that we've tried, but that we've learned from other people. Like we have this thing called the churn killer sequence, where you break apart the membership at the last ditch effort to make as much money as possible. And you sell things individually off the back end of the funnel. Right. I got that from a friend of mine. He calls it the funnel of death. and he's got all these courses, and it's just like this endless funnel of nonsense, like everything you can throw until they unsubscribe. And I was like, but I was like, hey, wait a minute. If I do this in the membership setting, if I got 5% churn and I cover 5% of people who quit buying individual courses, I killed my churn. And I implement it, and there it goes. It's off to the races at that point. So all of this stuff is just being surrounded by like-minded people, admitting that none of us know what we're doing on a daily basis, and we're just trying to figure it out, and we're just trying things, building in recurring revenue so you have the room to take risks.
Yep.
And at the end, when things go wrong, gosh, go and say things went wrong. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
man.
funny, you know, being a part of the membership masters and the Flip Lifestyle, like learning so much, and then literally being on a phone call with a Facebook ad, supposedly expert,
That's funny.
and him telling me what to do. And I'm like, I don't think that's going to work.
Yeah.
But
Do you know Shane and Jocelyn? That's what you should say to him next time. Be like,
Yeah,
tell Zucky to call them.
Oh my gosh.
I
I'm
think
sitting
you
there.
schooled him a little
Yeah,
bit.
I'm telling him, I'm thinking, I don't think
Very
that's going to
kindly.
work, but I will try it.
Yeah,
And
it didn't work.
it didn't work.
Yeah.
You know,
Dude, you
yeah.
want me to tell you an audience I discovered this week? All right, we're getting off the rabbit hole. I'm gonna have to I'll come back around. We'll circle back. Dude, we did. So I know, Facebook's changing its terms and conditions where the privacy thing is going to be an issue of retargeting and stuff.
Yeah.
So we got to thinking, well, what's Facebook not going to lose in tracking? That was a thought process I just had the other day.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was like, well, Facebook will never lose their own traffic. They're still going to track us, everything we're doing on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And, we've never been a big build your social media outlet. I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket.
Right.
And, I don't really care how many social media followers I've got. I care how many people listen to my podcast and are on my email list. That's all I care about. Right. So I started thinking about Facebook and I was like, well, how does this work? Well, I have a Facebook presence and my Facebook page. We've got an awesome community Facebook group. That's cool. And I said, well, wait a minute. Facebook always knows how many people go to my Facebook page. And it always knows if you like it, and Apple can't stop them from knowing that.
Yep.
Right.
So we looked, and there's an audience that you can build called engaged with your Facebook page in the last 365 days.
Mm-hmm.
I turned an ad on Sunday, and we made 2 sales within 24 hours.
Yep.
And I thought, wait a minute, this might be a place to stay. Maybe we need to put some money on the front end, build our Facebook page higher. Facebook, then Jocelyn was like, hey, but then we got to really work hard on engagement. Let's get them to share and like and comment. Like that's going to become a different kind of strategy. How do we boost our posts and show that to our people so they have a chance to engage?
Yeah.
But then once all these changes happen, we're already seeing it. We spent $30 and made $600. So that's a whole new rabbit hole. But that's where we're going to focus that's where actually the majority of my retargeting budget's going to that audience this week, just to test it down farther. And that's it, man. It's just like that didn't even went on my radar 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We're just waking up and playing the game, man.
Yeah. I think I picked this up in one of your newsletters was taking a look at your Instagram, your Facebook, the most what do you call it? The most likes inside of an Instagram. Maybe it's Instagram.
Yeah. What's getting the most attention?
The most traction.
Right.
Whatever post, and just applying ad revenue to those specific ads.
Yes.
That's I've been seeing incredible growth. Just
you got to have awareness ads because people forget about you.
Yeah. So just picking up like you were talking
and a
about.
lot of new people.
Yeah, a lot of new people.
Like,
so
cold audience.
But again, I got that from somebody else.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it's like unless you're plugged in to a community or a mastermind program or seeking out mentors and talking to, like, you guys are not even close to our space, right? Like, I am not drawing anything.
Right.
Nobody wants that. That's not going to happen, right? But we can learn from each other still.
Oh, totally.
And that's why we're all in this.
And I think you brought up a really great point that you have to stay open to evolving and shifting as things change, because things change. What worked a month ago might not work this month.
Oh, it's that set it and forget it mentality, man. People who still teach that, I just want to punch them.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not true. Like all money must be managed. Like even passive income in the stock market has to be managed.
Absolutely.
On a daily basis, right? And then the money that's making the money in the stock market is being managed by companies.
Right.
So it's not like anybody's actually making passive income. We can just all create systems that let us have some freedom built within what we do.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And that's what we're all trying to do.
Yeah. So anyone that's freaking out right now about the new changes of Facebook,
there's a way. It'll all work out.
Google
It'll be
wants to make
fine.
money. They're all gonna figure it out.
And we'll figure out a way.
And we'll just figure it out as well.
And here's the beauty of it. I got about 9 months of retention to let me get through it.
Yes.
Everybody else is freaking out. You know why they're freaking out? Because if they don't have Facebook ads next month, they're broke.
Right.
Right. We're going to be okay. We're going to be all right.
We're going to be good.
Yes.
Listen, guys, I tell you this all the time, man, but I'm proud of you guys. And I'm really, I consider it a blessing that through our community, we were connected and that we get to know each other. And you guys inspire us and we learn off each other. And I'm just really, I cannot wait to see what the March interview 2022 looks like with Chris and Ivy, because I know we're gonna be circling back around going, what happened last year, guys? It was good, man. But y'all keep it up, man. You're changing the world and your community, and thanks for sharing everything on the show today.
Well, thank you for everything.
Say hi to Jocelyn for us.
Yeah,
I will. All right, guys, that wraps up my interview with Chris and Ivy Newport, two true membership masters. Man, what an amazing couple. What an amazing business. What an amazing example of what's possible when you go all in on your membership website. And that's what we do every day inside the Flipped Lifestyle community. Not only do we help people start, build, grow, and launch memberships, but we help people just like you scale your memberships, grow your memberships, and take your membership to the next level. That's all the time we have for today, guys. But before we close the show, we love to end every episode of the Flipped Lifestyle podcast with a Bible verse. Jocelyn and I get a lot of our inspiration and motivation from the Bible, and we love to share the things that we're reading with our audience right here on the show. Today's Bible verse comes from Job, chapter 8, verse 7. And in the Bible, God says, "Your beginnings will seem humble, so prosperous will your future be." Think about Ivy's story, guys. Years ago, she was a stay-at-home mom. She wanted to do something, so she started a simple blog, and then she let that grow, and then she started some social media accounts, and she let that grow, and then her and her husband found the courage to release a course, and then another course, and then another. And finally, they launched a community and sold over 1,000 memberships. You heard her say 8 years ago she couldn't even have explained what that success looked like to her humble self in her humble beginnings. And in the same way, if you will start now, you will not believe how prosperous your future can be either. Thanks for listening to today's show. That's all the time we have for this week. Until next time, guys, get out there, take action, and do whatever it takes to flip your life.
Bye.
Coffee cheers. Good to see you guys too. Glad we've all survived and our Armageddon for the last year. And
oh my gosh.
Now we're just all ready to.
We had like a crazy ice storm last week or week before.
Yeah.
Oh, so did we. Did you see the picture? Yeah. We lost power.
Yep, same. Stuff. It was awful.
No internet.
It's funny. You can't run an online business without power.
Oh,
yes.
We found that out.
Yeah. That's a hard lesson to learn,
Yes. Our new house has no cell signal either, so we couldn't even use our phones to connect.
We were useless.
When we bought the place we live in now, we were like, does this even have internet? And we are the last pole with internet. We're so far out in the country because we actually had to put it in the contingency plan it was in the contingencies. Like, we have to check this or we can't move there.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
I can't pay for that house without the internet.
Exactly.